Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another session, another live problem solving session of this course, The Joy of Computing Using Python. So, this is our 10th week. This is a 12-week course, and you have already completed about 9 weeks, and this is currently the 10th week. So, only 2 more weeks to go, and then this course will be complete. And by the end of it, I believe most of you would have a fair idea of how to write some programs in Python, and from there on, you can basically learn some new concepts on your own as well. So this course is essentially a first course on programming. So it assumed no prerequisites. So that's why it started off slow, and then slowly and slowly it picked up pace. Okay, so in this week, two problems were looked at. So one of them was the game called Flames, and another one was the problem of image or data compression. So these two problems were discussed in week 10. So the assignment problems are also based on the concepts discussed in this week. So a new thing, a new concept, or rather a new package that was introduced in this week was the NumPy package. Now, NumPy package is like the bread and butter of all kinds of scientific computing. So if you want to get into any kind of scientific computing or use programming language for your research work or stuff like that, then NumPy is what you are going to use the most. It's used for any kind of matrix manipulations and working with arrays and matrices. So that is one big thing that was introduced in this week, and all of you should gain as much familiarity as possible with the NumPy package. So before proceeding, let me just share the link of the YouTube channel for this course. Oh, sorry. So every Saturday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. we have these live sessions, and these live sessions are live streamed on YouTube as well. So the link to that YouTube channel is given in the chat box. You can go ahead and check it out. And if you have missed any of the previous sessions, then you can go to the YouTube channel and watch all the previous sessions. All the recordings are also present on the YouTube channel. So live streaming is there on YouTube channel, as well as the recordings are available. Sometimes some students have faced some issues with network and connectivity inside Zoom. But when they go to the YouTube video, there everything appears fine. So clarity of the video, clarity of the audio, that streaming is perfect in YouTube. But sometimes some students have faced some issues with the Zoom quality. So if you are facing some of those kind of issues, then I would suggest go to the YouTube channel, and you can watch it on YouTube. Okay, so with that out of the way, let us get started with week 10, assignment 10. So let me launch the poll. Okay, so I have launched the poll for the first question. Which math problem Flames is related to? So you need to select the mathematical problem on which the game Flames is based upon. So this was discussed in the video lectures. So if you have watched the video lectures, this would be very simple for you. There is no logic in this. It's just that the name of that mathematical programming problem. So take a minute to answer this question. So all of you, please try to answer. Okay, so I'll stop the poll. The correct answer is, oh sorry, I need to select my pen. The correct answer is option B, called Josephus problem. So flames, in flames, what do? You start with the word flames, and then you have a number which is based on the unique letters in two given names. But let's say you have some number and you keep counting. So you count 1, 2. Okay, let me write it below. So what you do in flames, you start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and after 6 you come back to the first letter, that is F. 7, 8, 9, 10, and you keep counting like this. Okay, and whatever your number is, let's say the number was 5. So let's say my number was 5. So then I will cancel out the letter E, and then I will start counting again, this time from the right side. So S would be 1, then F is 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I come to M. So then I will cancel out M. So like this, it will keep on going, and you will keep on counting in this kind of a cyclic manner and keep on cancelling out letters until you are left with one last letter. So this is what is called as the Josephus problem. So you can Google it and find it on Wikipedia more about this Josephus problem. But this is essentially what the problem is about. So the mathematical problem is that, let's say you will have a certain number of letters or whatever, up until whatever you want, up until some n letters. Then you will have a number, let's say n, and then you will count in this cyclic manner 1, 2, 3, dot dot dot, up until n, and keep on cancelling out the letters, and you have to predict what will be the last letter remaining. So this is the mathematical formulation of Josephus problem. Okay, so that was simple. Next question. Which of the following is the task of S dot upper given that the name of the string is S? So let me relaunch the poll. Okay, so I have relaunched the poll. Please take about a minute to answer this question. Everyone, please try to attempt. Okay, so let me now stop the poll. And I will share the results of the poll. So all of you have got it right this time, and I'm very happy. So the correct answer is, it converts every single character into uppercase. So s dot upper converts every single character into uppercase. If instead I had s dot lower, then that would convert all characters to lowercase. Okay, so these are the s dot upper and s dot lower commands. Sorry, does someone have a question? Okay, fine. So let us continue. The next question is about predicting the output of the code snippet. So what is the output of the following code? We have a string called the joy of computing, and then we are slicing that string and printing only a part of that string, means a slice of that string, and you need to see what is the slice of the string that is being printed. So everyone please try to answer. Okay, let me stop the poll. Okay, so some of you have got it right, some of you did not. So the correct answer is A. Okay, so when you are doing slicing, so when we do slicing of any list or string, then the syntax is as follows. So we will have the name of that list or string, and then you will have a starting index, and then you will have an ending index. Okay, and if you do not mention the starting index, then the default value of the starting index is equal to 0. Similarly, if you do not mention the ending index, then the default of the ending index is the length of that list or string, and start is inclusive, means it is included in the slice, whereas end is exclusive, so it essentially stops at end minus 1. So this is the syntax of slicing. So here neither start nor end index values have been mentioned, so the default values are taken for both. So the default starting is 0, default ending is the last element, so it starts from 0, goes up until the last element, and prints everything in between. So it prints the entire string, the joy of computing. So that is how indexing works. Okay, so now we can move on to the next question. Again, we need to predict the output of the code. So take a minute to answer this. What will be the output of the following program? So this is using the NumPy package. So NumPy, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, it is a very important package, and all of you should gain as much familiarity as possible with this NumPy package. So we have NumPy package, we have an array, and we are doing a sum. Okay, so let me stop the poll. And I will share the results of the poll. So the correct answer over here is option B. Okay, most of you have got it right. For those of you who did not get it right, let me show it in Python. So let me write this program in Python. Is my Python screen visible? I don't think so. Just give me a minute. Yeah, now I think Python is visible. Okay, so let me open up a new file and I will zoom in. Okay, so let me write down the piece of code over here. So first we import, then we have the array. And then we will print the sum. But before that, let me print the array B as well. And then print the sum. Okay, so let us run this. So see, the output is 4 and 6. So it is essentially 1 plus 3 and 2 plus 4. And then you have some warnings, but you can ignore that. Okay, let us come back to our questions. Okay, some people are asking something in the chat. Suraj, was it visible? Did you see the output? Suraj, if you could confirm. Okay, fine. And why it shows that means you are asking why it gives us warnings. No, output does not has error. It has warnings. An error is different from a warning. So error is when the code will not execute at all. It will throw errors and it will not execute. Warning is when the code executes, but let's say there are some aspects of the programming which are a little bit old, and in the newer versions they want to subsequently remove those older features and replace them with some newer features, and slowly they will try and get rid of some of the older ways of writing a particular thing. So that's one case where it gives you warning. It will execute the code, but it will give you some warning that maybe there are better ways of writing this thing, or you should try and doing something else, or it will, or that is one case of giving a warning. Another case of giving a warning is, uh, let's say, when you are doing some sort of type conversions invariably. Let's say you have some complex numbers, and you are trying to do something, some sort of a calculation which is only meant for real numbers. Then it will convert the complex number to a real number. It will do some sort of a type casting, take the real part and do stuff like that. But then it will give you a warning that you are probably not doing the right kind of operation. So these are a few scenarios in which you can encounter some warnings. You are saying when I put a space, it did not show warning. Space between, as in what? You want to say you do not put the space, or you put the space? Okay, fine, yeah. So that's what. So uh, so there are different situations. So for you, putting the space removes warning. For me, when I remove the space, then it removes the warning. So these are some system dependent dependencies as well. You would have seen in the videos also, one of the teaching assistants was mentioning some system dependencies for input. So using either int input, or using input, or using raw input, these kind of things, and how system dependencies can also yes, about Mac OS, Windows, and how system dependencies can also change some things slightly here and there. So yes, so this is like one of the reasons you can basically get some warnings. Either there is something old, some old feature which they want to fade out, or you are doing some sort of type conversions by mistake, things like that. Okay, so let's move forward. Next question is also predicting the output. What is the output of the following program? So we have a string, and we are doing some string dot replace, and then we are printing the string. So everyone please try to answer. A few more seconds. Okay, so I'll stop the poll, and let me share the results of the poll. Okay, so seems like most of you got confused in this question. The correct answer to this is option D. Simply, I am amazed. Now, why this is the thing, and most of you selected option A, Now option A will be the answer if you have the following code. You have s equal to s dot replace a comma z. So only if you have this, and then you will of course print s. If you have this, then you get the output as a, or you have to print s dot replace a comma z. So in either of these two scenarios, you will get option A as the answer. But when you are just writing s dot replace, but you are not assigning it back to s, and you are simply printing s, then it will print the original string, which is I am amazed. It will not do any replacement operation. So that's why option D is correct. So, Suraj, I will show you how to use the replace command. So, let's go back to Python. So, here we are in Python. Let us remove all of this. So, we have this string. And then let's just first write down what is given in the question. This is the question, okay? So when we run this, we simply get the original string, I am amazed. But if I do the following, now see, it has done the replacement. It has replaced every single A with the letter Z. So you have to write this S equal to S dot replace. Only then it will do the replacement. So I hope you understood, Suraj. Okay, great. So moving on to the next question. So let me start the code. So what are the consequences of image compression? Less size, lower quality, more size, or higher quality? So this is a multiple correct choice type question. So more than one options can be correct. Okay, let me stop the poll. So yes, all of you got it right. The correct option is, rather correct options are less size and lower quality. So when you are compressing, then the size that the file takes on your disk is reduced, so it occupies lesser space. At the same time, quality is also reduced. You see less features, less clarity in the image. Okay, Next question. So you have to predict the output of the following program, and this command dot join is being used here. So you need to basically say what it does. So take a few seconds. Okay, so let me stop the poll. The correct answer to this question is option D. So when you do dot join, it basically inserts that particular character between every two successive characters in the given string. So it will insert hash between J and O, and also between O and C. So these are the successive characters it will insert in between every pair of characters. So that is how dot join works. Okay, so we can move on to the next question. Let me start the corresponding poll. So again, this is multiple choice correct, so be careful. How to take the transpose of a matrix? So for those of you who are want a recap, transpose of a matrix means if you have a matrix, let's say M, which is like this, then M transpose, which is sometimes written like this, or sometimes it's written like this. This is basically interchanging rows and columns. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. So transpose means you interchange rows and columns. So that's how you take the transpose. So all of you, please try to answer. Okay, so let me stop the poll here. So yes, all of you got it right. The correct options are options B and C. So when you are using NumPy and you have arrays, so you can either use like this dot transpose, or in shorthand you can simply write dot T. Okay, so next question. This is about summing up arrays or matrices rather. So we are given the following code. What will print A plus B give? We have two arrays or matrices and you want to sum them up. Everyone please try to answer. Okay, so let us stop the poll. So yes, all of you have selected the correct option, which is option D. So I have written down these matrices over here in a way which would be much more familiar to you from school days. So we have the matrix A. So in Python, we we give the matrix row after row. So this is the first row. This is the second row. So that's how you have first row, second row. So that's how you write matrix in Python. And below that, I have written how you typically write matrices when you're doing mathematics. So you have the matrix A, you have the matrix A and B. So A plus B is simply the element-wise addition. So what you do is element-wise addition. So you add the first element to the first element, second element to the second element, and so on. Okay. So moving ahead. What is the output of the following code? So we have an array and then we are using a command called reshape. So you have to select what is the output after the command reshape. So a few more seconds. Okay, so let me stop the poll. So the correct option is option B. Now, what does reshape do? So reshape basically reshapes your array into a 3 cross 4 matrix, because that is the argument given to reshape 3 comma 4. And when we say 3 comma 4, that means 3 is row and 4 is column. So this is a 3 cross 4 matrix whereas this is a 4 cross 3 matrix. So some people selected option C. Option C would be the output if we write print a dot reshape 4 comma 3. Okay, so one needs to be careful with the ordering of the uh, ordering. So 3 comma 4 or 4 comma 3. So it is always rows first and then the columns. Okay, let's move ahead. What is the output of the following code? So we had discussed something similar in the beginning of this lecture. So you have to select the output of the following code when the command s.lower is applied. Okay, so I will stop the poll now. So most of you got it right. The correct option is option D. This would have been the option if we had written s.upper, print s.upper. Then it will convert everything to uppercase. This would be simply the original string s. Okay, moving on. Type 9 will return what? You need to select the type of the number 9. Okay, so let me stop the poll. All of you got it right. So that's good to see. The correct answer is indeed int. If you would have had type 9.0, then this would give type as float. So 9 and 9.0 are different. Mathematically, they might be the same, but in terms of computer programming, they are numbers of different data types. Okay, next question. This question is also on join, and we had just seen how to use the join command a few minutes ago, and hopefully everyone will get this one right this time. Okay, let me stop the poll. So I think people missed out this extra dot over here. So in option C, you have two dots instead of one. And that's why it's wrong. So option D is the correct one. You will insert one full stop or dot between every single character, and your first character is a blank space. So that's why there is this blank space here. So blank space, then dot H, then dot E, then dot L, then dot L, and then another dot. So yeah, option D is the correct answer. Then we have another question on list slicing. Again, in the beginning of this lecture, we had seen how to do list slicing. So this is just a revision of list slicing or indexing. S is equal to the joy of computing, and then we are printing one slice of that string.
Radhika,
Yes.
in the previous question, actually, see between HEL and space is there, no? That uh, should be a gap. This one, no?
Oh,
In the
wait, let me
C,
see.
there should be some
Oh, let me
space
see. I
between
think I missed
L
out
and
the
M.
space. Wait, just give me a second. Oh yeah, you are right, Nalini. Thanks for pointing it out. I took note of this first space over here, but I completely missed out this space over here as well. So you are right. The correct option would be option C. Everyone, please take note of it. So yeah, so there is, I missed out this space. So there is space, then there is HEL, then another space, and then L and O. So I made the mistake of ignoring the space. I did not see that this space is existing. As a result, when you uh, do this join command, so after the join command, what you will have is space, then dot H, then dot E dot L dot space dot L dot O. So yeah, so as a result, you will have these two dots because space is just space. So finally, this is like this. Okay, so that's the thing. Thank you for pointing it out. I made this mistake, and all of you should be careful. You people should not make this mistake. I have the luxury of making mistakes and getting away with it, but if you people make mistakes, then you would be penalized in the form of marks. So as a teaching assistant, I'm in a very good position because I can keep making mistakes and nobody's going to penalize me. But as students, all of you do not have that luxury, so to say. So you all need to be very, very careful. So yes, I made this silly mistake of not looking at this extra bit of space over here. So thanks once again for pointing it out. And this makes me happy that people are paying attention in the class. So good. Okay, so yeah, I should do this with a red maybe because I had made the error. Okay, so let's move ahead. Yeah, we were doing this slicing and indexing. So yeah, all of you have answered and most of you have got it right. The correct answer is joy of C, and a space between J is there. And just for a recap, let me copy that slicing syntax that I had written. Yeah, here it is. So this is the syntax for slicing. And we'll just do a recap over here once again. So this is how one does slicing of any kind of list, be it list, be it array, be it string. So slicing is applicable for all these: list, array, string. So on all these data structures, you can use the concept of slicing. Okay, so next question is a true false type question, and very simple true false type question. So the question is, lossy and lossless compressions are the same, true or false? So this is very simple. A few more seconds before I close the poll.
Hello.
Yes.
In the previous question, my question is the character with index 12, is it included or not?
No. So as I mentioned over here, you see this syntax I've written. The end point is exclusive. When I say exclusive, then whatever is the end point, it will stop one element before that. So when we say 12, it will essentially stop at 11. Okay, so if I do the numbering, 1, 2, 3, 4 is the space, 5, 6, 7, 8 is another space, 9, 10, 11 is space, and then you have the 12. Why am I hearing echo of my own voice? I don't understand. Okay, anyway, so yeah, these options are incorrect. You are right, I think. So this was from the previous year's assignment questions, and it seems that they had some incorrect problems. Just like this time also, you would have seen that in some questions, one of few questions were not correct. So none of the options are correct, it turns out. Neither of them. The correct option should then be this. Yeah, just the joy of and then one space. I hope I've done the counting properly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, right. Thanks for pointing out. Yeah, good. Good that you have taken note of this. So this is the syntax of slicing. The endpoint is always exclusive. It stops one element before that. That's why I've written that the default, when you do not specify anything, the default is length of the name. So now length of that name would be a number, and one less than that, it will be the index of the last element. So the last number in this slicing is exclusive. First number in this slicing is inclusive. So it starts at 3.
Uh,
Ma'am, if we
Radhika,
do it in Python for once, it will be.
Sorry.
If we do it in Python for once, we can get more convinced.
Okay, sure. So just give me a second. Let me go to the Python console. Are you able to see the Python console? I don't think so. Let me refresh it. Wait. I think now you can see it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So see, I have written this string, the joy of computing. Okay. So let me, okay, let's do two things. Now let's have a list also. Let me start with 0.
the index should start from 0, right?
Okay, so I have two things. Now I have a string, I have a list, and let's try with array also. Okay, so let me have an array as well. Array of numbers, list of numbers, and string. And in all of them, let us do this print. Okay, so let's just run this whole thing. So we have first one string, second one list, and third one array. So okay, let me just print s3. What is this? That's the space. Okay, and s11, what is it? That's c. Okay, wait, something is going wrong somewhere. Oh, sorry, I have
Actually,
written,
index,
sorry.
the index you need to start
Yes,
from
yes, yes.
0,
Sorry,
right?
sorry.
Last time.
I have done this thing wrong over here. So, yeah, so everything, so it's 3. So let me write it down here as a comment. So when we do this thing, so 3 is inclusive and 12 is exclusive. So when I say inclusive and exclusive, this means that inclusive means it is included, and exclusive means not included. So it essentially stops at index 11. So whatever is the 11th thing, it will stop at that point. So, and you see that this is universal across strings, lists, and arrays. So whether you have a string, whether you have a list, whether you have an array, the indexing works the same across all these data structures. So that's what. Okay, so I can actually replace this with this. Then but I can't do 10. So anyway, so now if I do this, then you will see it okay, I can go even more little bit. So see, it starts from index 3 and it stops at 7. So it is 3 to 8 is given, so it will stop at 7. So 8 is not included, 8 is exclusive. It will stop one element before the index 8, so that is stopping at index 7. So that is why you are seeing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I hope now this thing is clear. And if we go back to our this thing question, yeah, so going back to the question, this is the correct option. I had so this is the indexing over here. So counting, if we go, so it will be starting from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and this is 12. So 12 is not included, so O will not be there. So it will basically print this as your output. Okay, so yeah, that solves the questions for indexing. And we were, I think, doing this compression. So the answer is false. Of course, I mean, lossy and lossless compressions cannot be the same. What we have done in this video series is lossy compression. We have done a very rudimentary example of compression, very basic, very elementary, and it is highly lossy, as you would have seen. A lot of features and a lot of structure was not seen after we had done the compression. There are various kinds of advanced compression techniques. So every time you perform some compression, there will be some sort of a loss, but there are some really advanced kind of compression techniques in which you do not visually see any kind of degradation in quality. So the size will reduce, but visually the images would look pretty much the same to you. Although there would be loss, some small amount of loss, and size would be greatly reduced, but it would not be as bad as what was shown in the elementary videos. Okay, so that is on compression. So we have next question. This is about replacing a character in a string with another character. So you have a string and you want to replace some characters. Essentially, you want to replace all vowels with the underscore character. So that's the question, and you have to select which code actually does that replacement. Okay, let me stop the poll. So yes, everyone selected the correct option. Option D is the correct option. You have all these vowels here and you want to replace it with this underscore character. So replace command is such that you have s dot replace, and first one is what is called so let's say you have one particular character C1, and then You have a character C1 and character C2. So this basically means replace C1 character with C2 character. So wherever C1 occurs, you replace that with C2. At every occurrence of that, not just the first occurrence. Every occurrence of that character will be replaced. Okay, so we have only a few more questions, 3 more questions to go. So this is the question. What does the following code represent? So we have a piece of code over here and you need to select the correct output for this code. Okay, let me stop the poll now. And let me share the results of the poll. Okay, so correct option is option C. And why so? It's because from here, this modulo 2 equal to 0, you select the even indices, uh, all the indices which are even. So this is modulo 2 equal to 0, selects all even index, and then you are replacing from this if condition, A is your vowels. So for SI in A, that means you are replacing all your vowels with underscore. So that is the understanding of the code. Okay, 2 more questions. What will be the output of the following code? Let me relaunch the poll. Again, this is a question based on sum using NumPy arrays. Okay, let me stop the poll. So the correct option is option B. And let me write down the matrix B. So B is this matrix. Okay. When you have axis 0, when inside this sum, when you write axis equal to 0, then that is column wise sum. So that will give you the answer 4 comma 6. So this will be the answer when axis is 0, and this is the answer when axis equal to 1. Why? Because axis equal to 1 is row wise summation. So adding up row wise, 1 plus 2, that's 3, and then 3 plus 4, that's 7. When you do column wise, you do column wise means like this. This is column wise, and like this is row wise. So column wise, 1 plus 3, 4, 2 plus 4, 6. So that is the answer. And this is the answer. When you do this, you display the first row of the matrix. So these are how you would get these options: axis 0, axis 1, or just display the row. Okay, so let me relaunch the poll one last time for today. What is the shape of the following numpy array? So we have numpy.array and we have this statement, and you need to select the shape of this array. Okay, let me stop the poll. So yes, most of you got the answer right. The correct option is 2 comma 3. So if we write this matrix in the normal mathematical form, then it is like this. So size is 2 comma 3. Why? Because you first write row and then you write column. That is how the syntax and nomenclature is: first the row, then the column. Okay, great. This brings us to the end of the quiz. Now we have programming questions. So we will now look at how to write program in the Spider console. That's the end of the poll. What happens if axis is 2 or 3? So Suraj, there is no axis 2 or 3 available because it is a matrix. So a matrix is a two-dimensional array. So you have two options: axis 0 or axis 1. Axis 2 will be available if you have a three-dimensional array. So you have row, column, as well as height. If you imagine a cube, so a cube is a three-dimensional. So if you imagine a line is a one-dimensional thing. So 1D array geometrically would mean a line. If you look at a square, then that is a 2D thing. So geometrical equivalent of a 2D array, or what we call a matrix, is a square. And if you imagine a cube, then that would be a 3D array, the geometrical equivalent of a 3D array. So a 3D array would have row, column, as well as height. So in that, if you want to sum along columns, you would do axis 0, sum along rows, you would do axis 1, sum along the height, then you would do axis 2. Similarly, if you have higher dimensional arrays, n dimensional array, then you can sum along the n minus 1th direction. But visualizing beyond 3 dimensions is very difficult. That's just abstract mathematics. So geometrical interpretations would be available up until 3 dimension only. So yeah, that's the axis. So axis essentially means along which axis. If you want to imagine in terms of geometry, you could think of axis as x, y, and z axis. So when you just have one dimensional, it's just the x axis. When you have two, then you have two options for the axis, 0 or 1, which would mean x or y. And when you are in 3 dimensions, you would have x, y, and z. So axis will be 0, 1, or 2. So that is how it will do. I hope that answers your question, Suraj. If not, feel free to ask again. If there are no other questions, then we will proceed to the programming. Okay. So yeah, you are asking whether it will show error. Yes, it will show error because if you have a two-dimensional array that is a matrix, and if you put axis equal to 2, it will throw errors for you, and you will not get any kind of answer. Okay, so let me go to the programming. So the question says, given a list L, a new list to fix the indices of numbers in L to its same value in the new list. Okay, so we have a list L, write a program to make a new list to fix the indices of numbers in L to its same value in the new list, and put 0 at remaining indices. So this might sound complicated, but what it means is you have, let's say, an input list like this, 1, 5, 6. Then let me write down the index. So index would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So what we are doing is, whatever numbers that we had 1, 5, and 6, and we are putting it at its corresponding index. See, this indices match. So we want to create a new list where these numbers are positioned at their index location, and everything else in that list should be having the number 0. So this is what we want to achieve. So let us write the program. So let's say we have a list L, which is a list of numbers. Okay. And then let us find out the maximum in that list. It is done by this command max. So it finds maximum. Okay. So that maximum number would be the index of the last number. So then we want to create a new list, and we initialize it to have the value 0 and like this. So m is the index of the maximum number. So actually the total number of numbers would then be m plus 1. That's why we are initializing 0 m plus 1 times. Then what we will do is, we'll write a for loop. This is assigning the number to its index for the new list, and then we will print it. Okay, and we want to print it in one row without any square brackets or anything, just like a list of numbers but without any square brackets. So that's why we are printing it inside a for loop with this end equal to space. So let us go to Spider console and let me get rid of all of this. So we have L as a list of some numbers. Then we will find the maximum in that list. Then we initialize a new list. Okay, so then a for loop. Oh, sorry, spelling of new I have written wrong. So this is done, and then we will print. Okay, so let me run this. See, we get the desired kind of output. So let us try some other list of numbers that we can try. We can try, let's say, 3, 4, 8. See, index 3, index 4, and then index 8. And everything else in between is 0, 0, 0, 0. This is precisely what we wanted to achieve, and we have managed to do that. What if we have, let's say, repeated numbers? Let me put a list with has repeated numbers. Okay, let's say 10, 9, 9, 10. Okay, what it will do is at index 9 and index 10, it will show 9 and 10 and then 0 everywhere. So repeated index doesn't matter. At that particular index, it will show the number. Okay, so this completes the first programming assignment. Let's move to the next one. Okay, next programming assignment. Ram shifted to a new place recently. There are multiple schools near his locality. Given the coordinates of Ram as p, x, y, and schools near his locality in a nested list, Nested list meaning list within a list. Find the closest school. Print multiple coordinates in respective order if there exists multiple schools closest to him. Write a function closest school that accepts x, y, L, where x and y are coordinates of Ram's house and L contains coordinates of different school. So this is your input, x, y, Ram's house coordinates, n is the number of schools, and then you have list of coordinates of those schools. And then you need to find out the distance of each school from Ram's house and print which is closest to Ram's house. So let us start writing the piece of code. Before that, how do we find out the distance? So you must remember from your high school mathematics, the distance formula is given as follows. Let's say we have two coordinates, x1, y1, and x2, y2. Then the distance between them, between these two coordinates, is nothing but square root of x2 minus x1 whole squared plus y2 minus y1 whole squared. So this is the distance between any two given coordinates. Now, in order to do this square root, the square root functionality is available in a package called math. So we will import math for that reason. And then let us define this closest school function. This closest school function, which has these arguments as input. So this is the function. And let's say we have some minimum distance, which we will initialize as the distance between Ram's house and the first school in the list. So this is school coordinates, and it's a list, nested list rather. So we will take the first school in the list and find out its distance from Ram's house. So this is the distance of the first school from Ram's house. Why first school? Because L0 will be a list of coordinates x0, y0. And this is the first element in that list. And if I want to access this particular element, the x coordinate, then that will be done like this. If I want to access this, then this will be done like this. Okay. So that is what we initialize as the minimum distance, and then we will compare the distance of every other school from Ram's home and keep on finding the least distance. So we will first run a for loop which scans across all the school coordinates. So this is how we will access the x coordinate of the school and the y coordinate of the school. Then we need to find out the distance. So square root is found out by this math.sqrt function. And to the power is done by this star star. So a to the power b will be written like a star star b. So if this new distance is less than what we had initialized as our minimum distance, then we will replace that and add it to the distance list. And if the new distance is same as our previous minimum distance, then we will just add it to the existing list. And then we need to print. Okay, so this is our definition of the closest school function. And then we simply need to call this closest school function, and then it will print the closest school. So what we have is we have x comma y as Ram's house. Then we have n as number of schools. Then L is school's coordinates. And then we will finally call the closest school function. Okay, so let us write it in Python console. Pretty big piece of code. So first we will import math function. Then we have the definition. This is the minimum, initializing the minimum distance. Then we find out the distance. Then we check if this new distance is less than what we had initialized as our minimum distance. else if it is the same, then we simply add it. And then we need to print. Okay, that's all. Now we need to define all the coordinates that we have. So let's say we want to position our origin at Ram's house. So x comma y is, let's say, 0 comma 0.
Sorry, I'm still not sure about that.
So then we have, let's say we want to say number of schools that are there. Let's say we have 3 schools, and then we have a list of schools. So let's say coordinates are 7 comma minus 6, or let's say these are in meters. The unit of the distance is meters, or rather kilometers. Sorry, meters doesn't make sense, meters is too less. 7 kilometers and minus 6 kilometers from the origin along the x and y. Then let's say we have, let's keep one of the coordinates same so that we know indeed which one is the closest one, just to test out. So we should always start with some simple test cases to test our code, and then move to the more complex test cases. And then now closest school x comma y comma l. Okay, let's run this. Great. So indeed 1 comma minus 6 is closest to 0. You see, we had kept y coordinate same and the x coordinate was 1, 3 and 7. So indeed coordinate 1 is closer to 0. So this code is working perfectly fine. And now you can put in more complicated kind of numbers over here. So that will basically give you the answer. If we put two numbers which are same, let's say we have like this, two schools, two coordinates same, then you would see get both of them, because both of them would have same distance. Or let's say like this. So both of them have the same distance, 1 squared plus 6 squared, that is 37. Square root 37 is the distance for both of them, and they are located at different locations, but they are at the same distance from Ram's home. So you get two schools which are closest to Ram's home. Okay, great. So now we have one last question for programming. This is the last programming question. Given a string S, write a program to convert uppercase letters into lowercase letters and vice versa, and print the resultant string. So very simple. Whatever is uppercase, you have to convert to lowercase. Whatever is lowercase, you have to convert to uppercase. So for this, we need to import the string package. Then all the uppercase letters are in this string dot ASCII underscore uppercase, and all the lowercase are there in string dot ASCII underscore lowercase. And then let's take an input string And let us initialize our answer. So if we have an uppercase, so the index of that is upper dot index I, and then you will append it as like this. So this is, if you have upper, you want to convert it into a lower, and then the next one would be when you have lower, you want to convert it into upper. And if it is a special character, let's say space or full stop or comma or exclamation, then you don't want to change that. You want to let it be as it is, and then finally print the answer. So this is the code. Let us get back to Spider. First we import string, then we have upper, I don't know what's happening, something crazy is happening when I'm pressing enter. Yeah, then we have lower, okay, then we take an input, so if it is uppercase, you want to convert it into a lowercase. And if it is lowercase, you want to convert it into upper. So if it is in lower, you want to convert it into upper. If it is a special character, you want to leave it as it is. Okay, that's it. Let's run the code. We need to enter a string. See, it has done the conversion and it has left the spaces, which is special character, as it is. So that's all for the programming, and this brings us to the end of today's session. We have 2 more weeks to go, so that is 2 more sessions, and then that would be the end of this course. So thank you very much, and we will meet in the next class. And for those of you who joined late, here is the link to the YouTube channel once again. Okay, thank you very much. See you in the next class. So if people do not have any questions, then the class is over and all of you can leave the Zoom meeting.